Welcome, guitar players and studio people? Well, home recording, no, not really. People that just like to plug things into things and then later they have the memory of it. I'm sorry, I'm still way weird because of the NAMM tracks. So I just came home from NAMM. No, I didn't. I came home a week ago and I spent the whole week on the couch. I have tapes. We're talking about the modern equivalent of tape. So I talked to Universal Audio quite a while ago when the X4 came out because I'm an Apollo addict. I'm literally a Universal Audio, fanboy and addict. So I knew I had to have one because for the sessions I do and for so many things I have to tell you why I am going with the X4 in addition to everything else I have. They apparently released something called Luna, which is a DAW. I have no idea what that's about. I haven't seen it. The booth was insane at NAMM. It was completely pointless to go there and do anything. I'm hoping that we'll take a look at that at some point. So my nice peeps, folks, homies at Universal Audio sent me this. I know that was probably my address. Don't send me bombs. I have been using Universal Audio stuff since the U81 came out, which was 2001? 2001 or 2002, I think. I was definitely one of the first people to go to Guitar Center and buy one. It wasn't cheap and didn't have insane power, but for back then, it was powered plugins. And computers weren't very powerful back then, and the plugins sounded insane. And then, you wanted that. So it was a PCI card, not even Express. It was a PCI card, bought that, and early on started investing in plugins. And by now I think I spent 10 grand on plugins altogether. Then I had a second and a third card. So at some point, I was running 3 independent PCI cards. Then I was running a power core along with that, and my computer was, helped out by 2 different brands. The TC Electronic killed the power core, and I was using pretty much only the Universal Audio stuff. But 3 1 cards wasn't really that powerful. You still had to render down tracks and stuff like this, especially when they made the plugins more powerful. Then I came back to Germany and I invested in a UAD2 card, which had 4 processors of one of the old cards. So I already kind of had more power than I had before. And then I had a second UAD2, and I think at some point I had 3 at the same time, which was 12 processors. I can't imagine not using UAD stuff because after trying similar products or even the same emulations from other brands, it just doesn't hold up. It's just not the same. I then at some point went to a Mac instead of PC. Couldn't do PCI anymore because I had the Mac Pro, the trash can. So I went to an Apollo 8. And I was kind of stupid. I went with a satellite, which is the external box, Satellite Octo. That's 8 processors. That's 10. 1, 4, and 8. Then I thought, well, I don't need the big-ass Apollo. I went with the Apollo Duo. So a nice rack thing, 4 mic inputs, all great, but it only had 2 processors. Well, I didn't realize that the internal console and the Unison technology and everything you wanted to use on that console had to be processed on the hardware on that Apollo 8. My satellite, with all the processor for plugins, could only be used in the DAW. So they can't be applied to the Universal Audio console, which means I'm constantly kind of running out of processing power for the real-time reverb, console, guitar amp, and all that stuff. Also, it was kind of a little bit difficult. It is kind of a little bit difficult to get behind the rack because my XLR inputs are behind the rack. So I added, at some point I bought something and I got a satellite quad in addition to that because I always have these really cool things, buy a mic preamp and get that in addition. So I have an octo satellite and a quad. It brings me to 12 processors, plus the 2 that I have in the Apollo rack, which is 14. And then I added an Apollo Twin on the table. And I love that damn thing because it's so portable. I can really just throw that in my laptop bag, go somewhere, and I have my full studio with 4 processors with me. All the same functionality, killer mic pre's. And I use that a lot because I can just take an XLR cable, plug it in, whether I have something like a DI box on the table, quick mic for an acoustic, whatever I want. It's right there on the table. And I'll show you all the stuff. So it's right there on the table next to my PreSonus monitor station. We get to that in a second. And there are my satellites. And all of these, by the way, are running Thunderbolt 2, which means I have to have Thunderbolt 2 to 3 converters for this iMac Pro. And there's my Apollo 8. So I've got this, and these daisy-chained in Thunderbolt 2. I've got one port open on this, which is a Thunderbolt 3 port. So I'm running the Apollo Twin, and I love it. Plugging in things directly, and it's got a quad processor, but I'm running my main Apollo as my main interface. If I ran the Twin as my main interface, it would kind of make sense because then I can run more stuff. I'm running out of XLR inputs all the time. I would love to be able to just plug things in on the table and have 4 inputs, which is, well, where this comes in. And I get that for you who would be buying a new audio interface and it's kind of a, home recording situation, an X4 isn't inexpensive. How much is it? $1,700, something like this? But it is literally the one interface you're gonna buy. Because, yeah, there's, of course, Apogees and there's Avid and all that stuff. But there's very little that's going to beat it. There's equal stuff, but you can go in a band recording, in a rehearsal, 4 mic inputs, optical in, which means you'll be able to add a 410D, which I also have, mic pre, or actually some other mic pre that's 8 mic pre's with an optical out, and then, track 12 tracks at the same time. Look at this. That's so nice. And this is Thunderbolt 3. It's got optical in. It's got, compared to the Twin, it's got 4 line out in addition to the monitor out. Now, the thing that I'm looking forward to is replacing my PreSonus monitor station. Do I need different studio monitors? No, I have one set. So I need one monitor out. So what am I using the monitor station for? Well, headphone out. Okay, well, I've got that on here. Actually, on here, I have 2 headphone outs. How awesome is that? So I pretty much have everything that the monitor station gives me. I don't need different speaker outs, which I could still do with Q outs, but I don't need that. I need one set of speakers, 1 or 2 headphones. So technically, I need a, mute, which I have. I need a volume, which I have. So I think now I'm going to go ahead and replace my PreSonus monitor station. I'll be able to have this running in parallel with my Twin. Don't quite know how much sense that makes, but I will, because why not? They can run in parallel, so why not? That gives me 6 mic pre's on the table, plus the 4 in the Apollo 8. So everything that's wired in there, I will continue to leave wired in there. I'm sorry, this is a lot of information, and I'm excited, as you can tell, because I'm a freaking fanboy. Let's look at what's in the box. Sorry that this is only one camera, but Leslie is suffering from the Namthrax that I gave her, and I'm still kind of sweaty, so, so this is not a very complex video. Ooh, it opens up like this, that's nice. There's a 1-camera video, I'm sorry. Ooh, ha, 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 ha. Nice! This doesn't even come off, okay? This still fits in a little case, laptop bag. Well, yeah, you have to have a bigger pocket for that. But this is so nice. 2 headphone outs, very cool. You can actually work with people without even having speakers there. You can play guitar and bass or two guitars at the same time. Processing-wise, this can totally handle it. The built-in emulations are the best that you can get. Big-ass knob, all the same as the Twin. It has now Thunderbolt 3, so I have to find out, do I need a Thunderbolt 3 cable or can I use a USB-C cable? Probably not. We will find out. Optical in and out. And then 4 line outs in addition to the monitor. And this is where it's at, being able to plug in right on the table where I have 2 and sometimes run out of space. This is absolutely killer. And obviously, if I run the Twin in parallel and the Apollo 8 in parallel, we're talking 10 XLR inputs, and then I can go to the 410D, which is in the rack. I will show you this as well. Right here, that's my 410D. Right there. Which will go optical out into the Apollo 8, so I run everything digital. In the Twin, I use the optical in for my aux box, so I'm running the aux box also in digitally, but that's already wired into the Twin, so if the Twin is running in parallel, I see no need to do that here, and that gives me an optical input in addition to the other 2. So I've got one coming from the 410D, one coming from the aux, and I have a third optical in, which is killer. So this is very neat, and this is, it's a quad core. All the new rack interfaces now are 6 core, which is way cool. There's the getting started. Of course, I'm already registered, so I have to add that to my group of devices. Power, and they still don't give us Thunderbolt cables. I wonder why. Nobody actually gives you a Thunderbolt cable. I wish they did that. I mean, the thing is $1,700, and you don't get a Thunderbolt cables. That's kind of lame. You also don't get that with the 3,000 euro Apollo 8P or whatever. You really should. I mean, that can't be cost prohibitive because Universal Audio is not going to buy the cables for $50 like we have to. They're going to buy them for almost nothing in China. So I don't quite understand why they don't do that. But here we are. Let's get this in there. Okay, so I'm going to find out if I need to order a cable or not. I probably have a Thunderbolt cable lying around somewhere, but I don't know where. So I probably have to order one if USB-C doesn't do it until then. Oh, that goes in there too. So I'll try to wire it up so that the monitor station goes, this goes there. It's going to look really sexy. And that's my new system. And I love it. I absolutely can only recommend this stuff. I know when you're buying an audio interface, you might be looking at Focusrite, you might be looking at $300-400, and then looking at an Apollo Twin Duo, which is like, $800, is already a huge jump. Now going to a quad, which I can only recommend, is a huger jump. Going to an X4 is a huger jump. But it's going to be the one you buy, and it's unbeatable. That's why so many people use it. It's not just the hardware and the preamps and the A2D, which is all very, very good, but the plugins, which of course you have to spend money on again. I get that. But get yourself one channel strip. Don't get all of them. Get yourself like the API or the SSL channel strip, be good. Or get yourself the new VT737 from Avalon, which is what I'm recording the shotgun mic with right now. It's killer. Unison technology, amazing. Get the chamber reverb, the capital chambers for reverb, done. Get the definitely get the Ocean Way Studios to put a drum set in. Put a virtual drum set and drum samples into that room. Bam, it's alive. Put an acoustic guitar you recorded into that room. Bam, it's better. Put a vocalist into that room. Bam, it's everything gets better by using that. So I can't recommend the Universal Audio stuff more than saying that I've been using it for almost 20 years, have never looked back, invested a lot of money into it, into the hardware and the software, and can't think of something that will make me as happy or make my life as easy as what they do. You don't need 15 compressors. You need 2, maybe 3, and you're done. Find the EQ that you like. Done. Okay? Look at Chris Lord-Alge. He's using an SSL console. How many EQs does he use? The SSL EQ. Does he have an external? Maybe a pool tech. Get that one too. Done. I primarily use the LA2A and the 1176 and the Vertigo VSC2. That's it. I use the Mag EQ4. That's pretty much that snare. That's vocals. That's guitars. API, the graphic one, it's what I use for most of the time for almost everything I do. Actually, no, for kick drum and bass. Oh, my brain. It's just so much good stuff. I'm sorry I'm boring you with this. I know it's not a guitar. If you have the money and you're serious about what you do, this is the thing that you buy and you won't regret it. Thanks Universal Audio for working with me. I showed them all the Campaign Like Clockwork sessions and how we're using this, the software, the console, and the hardware for it. And they're like, yeah, we want to support that. That's why they sent this. So I didn't pay for this. They're not paying me for this video, but I got this. So thank you for your trust in what I do, Universal Audio. You guys are kick-ass. And hopefully we'll work together a lot more because I'm a fanboy. Who isn't? I put a link below. Actually, there's a link already, to this. There's also links to Universal Audio directly. Use those, go to the website, then they can track how many people I'm sending there. Check it out there. And I'll put some animals at the end.